discuss about this intelligent gaze into robotics. Would like to speak a bit about what I do. I am generally known in the hardware space for a long time. Started the robots playing football in '96 when I was in South Korea. The idea was to create demand to bring down the cost. In '96, a frame grabber card from analog to digital conversion used to cost about $2,000 US. We created the demand across the world, and by organizing these competitions, new startups came up. And by '98, the cost came to 198 USD, less than 1/10th. That's the beauty of these competitions. That's what I like about makerspace and several activities of this kind. So you should try to create more than what you can achieve in your enterprise. You will be able to contribute to the world by bringing down the cost. So I work in hardware and lately into the hot, bad, deep learning. And I am also teaching innovation enterprise, but I happen to be an entrepreneur, failed, learned, and still walking. And some success stories. Other one is frugal innovation, Gandhian innovation, grassroots innovation. There are a number of interesting innovations in grassroots, especially in India. Unfortunately, we don't see that. You don't have to have a PhD to innovate. You don't have to have a formal education to innovate. So that's not my topic today. And lastly, I'm also into residential life, student life. I had a residential college in the US where I live with my students. And that's what I really like most. India has to change education where the students are more important than anything else. And a lot of changes are happening, and they'll be able to make a lot of difference in life. So the intelligent gaze to robotics future. What is AI, the artificial intelligence? We all know it. It inherited a lot from several areas, philosophy for that matter, logic, cognitive science, mathematical aspects, tools, everything related to that, and even psychology. Now we are talking in terms of how to have interactions between humans and robots. Can we have a robotic system for a person who has autism? Even a mother is overwhelming for a person with autism. So we are in a school for people with autism in January in Chennai. And one of my students said, they are much better than us. They are good in what they do. And so let us see the world in a different perspective. So psychology is very important. Computer science, a lot of algorithms and aspects. So that came into the birth of artificial intelligence long back. And reasoning, learning, planning, perception, knowledge, acquisition, intelligence search, and uncertainty management. We look at our own brain. We have artificial neural networks. We try to look at the way we converse without mathematics. I don't know whether I use any mathematical equations or anything in this conversation. I convey, you understand. And fuzzy logic is there to capture that. And these two married together. And we brought in an interesting concept, learning. How do you learn? We looked at ourselves. So there is evolutionary algorithms which we learned from natural selection process. Mom, dad, X, Y chromosomes. You have babies born. You can create these populations in the virtual world. So there are a number of applications, game playing, theorem proving, language, image understanding, robotics and navigation. That's the way it is. So the essential 8 technologies that may change the world and disrupt a lot of things. Artificial intelligence for sure, augmented reality, blockchain, drones, Internet of Things, robotics, virtual reality, and 3D printing. I will not be speaking about all, but like to focus on mostly on the AI robotics space. So in 2004, this is from European, one of the groups, they said, maybe at that time, command interpretation was possible, and in 10 to 11 years, 20 years, autonomous task planning and reasonable thinking and human-like intelligence, the more you go towards human, the uncertainty is widening, 10, 30, 50 years, because we don't know much about ourselves. And the global market for robotic industry is going to grow. We'll be able to create about so much space in market share as well as in the financial space, 80 billion market. And if you look at the service robots breakdown, the autonomous guided vehicles, agriculture, medical, cleaning, security, logistics, and domestic use and others, that pie is so big. And different countries are looking into how to get major part of that particular pie. So you have to position from how you can make a difference in this space. So there are very interesting hardware related developments. The Romba, are in the floor cleaning space, hospital logistics, and Boston Dynamics now, they have a human-like system which can jump forward and backward. And jumping is not easy, guys. And walking is not easy, guy. Walking is the most difficult one. And then, very interesting one is the Rethink Robotics, the collaborative industrial robot, where you can put your head in its arms. In typical traditional industrial robotic space, you're not supposed to enter into the territory of the robot because you will get killed. And they moved that. This is a very interesting change, and it happened in a couple of years back. The Baxter robot is less precise and rapid, more adaptive and extremely safe. And it is not the motor driving the arm directly, but it drives the spring, and in turn, the spring drives the arm, which can help the arm to feel when it is hitting something. This is a kind of capability we all have. If I see a baby, if I'm about to fall, I know how to fall in such a way that less harm is brought to the baby as well as myself. How do we do that? So we have a lot of capabilities, guys. Don't look down on yourself by the degrees and the marks that you get, okay? Forget about all that, okay? We are much beyond all that. The cost is less, and programming is by simply moving its arm, it can learn by itself. And then it runs on open robot operating system. How many of you work on robot operating systems, guys? Guys, hands up. Anybody? Yeah. You should use that. Okay, I have a module which uses only robot operating system, and you can do whatever you want. You can fail there easily, but you can learn a lot. Now, if you look at the world where it is, a lot of changes are happening, autonomous transportation, of course, infrastructure is very much involved, healthcare, the robot surgery related patents are more or less expiring this decade, and a lot of new players are coming in. Manufacturing and collaborative, where humans and robots have to work together. It's not robots purely isolating themselves. They are not territorial anymore. And services, helping people when needed. So, quite a lot of activities there, but we need to see from a bigger perspective. Sooner or later, we have to coexist along with robots. So symbiosis, symbiotic human-robot coexistence, how to make us interact more, how to share, and smart mobility in a human environment. Look at that. The wires are there, all these flowers, everything. Can a robot really survive here? We have built the space by looking at the two legs. everything is designed for us. A different entity is going to come and share our space and time and resources. We would like to think even the infrastructure differently. So for example, that door, why that handle is there is because I have an appendage and I can hold it like that. Do you want a robot to have a hand like that to open the door? Of course, it's a research topic. I can publish papers. You can publish papers, citation index, H index, and everything. You can get promotion bonus. But why don't you change the door suitable for the robot also, right? So that's a thought process you have to think about. And cognition and autonomy. This is very interesting. I feel my whole body through the senses. I have my sensations. But robot, does it have all of that? It doesn't have that kind of a sensing. And robust system design and integration, and all these have to come together, and we need to identify the gaps and have to have programs and centers. And this is the first step, as people have said. Now, there are quite a number of capabilities related to hardware, and I'm not going to read all of that, but you can look at the annual roadmap for robotics in Europe, which will give very interesting thoughts. And there are technology readiness levels, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up to 9. Some of these things are to be brought into the makerspace or startup village or the education curriculum itself. And application domains are so wide. So the Shivshankar IAS was talking about even cleaning the solar cell surfaces. So the promising scenarios are symbiotic human-robot existence, smart mobility, and enhanced cognition and autonomy. This is a way you can try to look at from a bigger perspective. Now, humans and robots, what is going to happen in future towards digital labor? That's what I like to focus on. By 2020, definitely, we are going to share the space. It is already happening. We have already in Singapore, we have autonomous cars on operation. Trials have already happened. And caregivers, we may not be having all the capabilities. Why can we have a robotic system to come and help us? Or a person with certain capabilities differentiated with him. Can we have a robotic assistant? Or facade cleaning, it's so dangerous, why do you need to? Or the toilets, by the way, the guy doesn't have a, what do you call that? Tie. Still he is cleaning it, right? So maybe all these jobs can be moved away from humans and robots can do it. And sometimes we feel we should have robots to fall in love with. They will not be angry with you. You can do whatever they want. And, it may be good. And this is happening. There are sex toys and a lot of things like that. So I don't want to go into that anyway. And autonomous cars with electric vehicles is going to disrupt again. So the number of moving parts in an electric vehicle is just one, the motor, apart from the wheels and other stuff. But if you look at a traditional diesel locomotive, it is hundreds of parts. Maintenance will be very minimal the moment EV comes in. And that will lose a lot of jobs, especially in India for that matter. And there are issues, legal challenges. If an autonomous car gets into an accident, who should be blamed for? The manufacturer, the AI programmer, the infrastructure provider, or someone else? We don't know. So we need to understand all these aspects in their own context. As long as a human is inside a car driving, when he gets into trouble, we can understand him because we can understand our complexities, the way we look at the world. But an intelligent algorithm comes and controls it. It is a kind of an alien invading into our space. And we'll start blaming, and we try to react. And that is to be kept in mind. So, robotics and AI, what is happening? So this is, machine intelligence is transformed a lot. 20 years back, Deep Blue defeated Kasparov. The program was written by humans. Lately, DeepMind's, right? Company defeated the Go Korean champion. Have you watched the movie AlphaGo? You all should watch. The first 3 games, machine defeated him. Third game, he defeated the machine. And the fourth time, the machine was totally different. He started thinking like human. We don't think alike. We don't think the same way all the time. That's why we are different. And that program was not written by humans. That was learned by the computer itself using deep learning neural networks. So that is going to change a lot. That is going to make a lot of difference. And it is getting applied to all kinds of spaces, wherever you want to, and wherever it is possible. Now, the interesting part is that are we good in doing simple things? Can you draw a straight line straight? We cannot, because we are not meant to draw straight lines, by the way. But I can fall in love. And falling in love is so complex. Or mentoring a baby and caring that baby is so complex sometimes. And walking on 2 legs is very complicated. I worked in humanoid robots. I know how complicated it is. We all show all the success stories in front of you guys. We fail miserably most of the times when he works with hardware, right? So we humans are good at complex things, and robots were good at simple things. That is a past now. Now the robots have capabilities to even deal with complex stuff. And that is a game changer. That is going to disrupt a lot of things out there. And we have to be prepared towards it. So AI space, 50s started long back. But we didn't have the computational capabilities and data connecting mechanisms and data processing capabilities. And then advanced step by step, stage and stage, machine learning came in, artificial neural networks came in. It failed a couple of times and then it came back again. And now we have neuronal models for our brain and even visual cortex models, which is used in vision and other areas. And then came deep learning. It can learn by itself, even the structure. And then you can bring certain other aspects to deep learning artificial neural networks where using evolutionary algorithms, and there comes the extreme learning machines, CLMs. They are going to make another big change out there. So what is deep learning? That makes machines AI capable, multiple levels of abstraction and representation layers to learn and extract features we may not be able to get it. But I'd like to state something. Are our brains inferior? We use only 10 to 15% of our brain. And that brain has to do a lot of tasks. Tongue, taste, hearing, eyes. My mom, my brother, I had to play with my dog, pet. Oh my goodness, adrenaline going up. When I see a beautiful girl, my adrenaline will go up, heart will start beating. My God, the brain has to do a lot of stuff in the human body, guys. So you don't have time to focus on something. But these guys can focus only on that particular thing. He doesn't have to worry about his salary. He doesn't have to worry about the social context where I will get a good recognition when I walk into the hall. He doesn't have to worry about that. So you are also capable of doing it, okay? Each one of us doing it. So neural networks, design and architecture, hardware setup is required, high computing, open source libraries are available, a lot are available. There are many providers, large data sets, and then understanding data. So computer vision, pattern recognition, regression, forecasting, predictive analytics. This is a big area. In fact, I'm into that. You get a lot of data from engines, whether it is aircraft engines or any manufacturing processes out there, we try to find remaining useful life, health index. When you don't have to maintain certain things on a regular intervals, you can optimize the intervals so that I can get maximum benefit out of that. So you take anywhere all these are required, whether it is market forecasting, trend analysis, it is being applied. And the main issue is getting the training data, most of the larger data set. And now, a lot of companies in the world are having it. For example, Kerala has to change. It has to keep track of all the automobiles on the road, and there should be a logging system. And then we can improve the traffic. We can improve, we can have a better fare management system. There was no need for the strike which happened a couple of weeks back, and it is gone down. And the number of private vehicles, or rather the public vehicles or the mass transportation vehicles is coming down in Kerala, and private vehicles are going up, pollution, congestion, traffic delays. So everything is connected. That is what is meant by symbiotic coexistence. And we don't have such a data as far as my knowledge goes. So everybody has to work towards. And healthy or silk or diagnosis, that is also there. But there is a very important one. There is something called imbalance data. It's something like 1 in a billion, 1 in a million something happens. Can we avoid it? Democracy doesn't really allow you to do that. Even one person out there, is supposed to be looked after. And in many cases, especially identifying manufacturing defects, the number of data collected from defective parts is very small. So the majority should not control the features of recognizing what is good or bad in the first place, but it is useful. And we have to also use the smaller minority data, and there are a lot of algorithms related to that as well. So one of my students who is from Trivandrum is working on this. And in India, I'm so happy that there are a lot of things happening, and GST, I really like that. My company has to pay so much money in that Walayar post as early as 2009, and that was our profit. And then I decided I will not come back from Bangalore to Kerala at all. Now it is gone. So you should really fight for all these cases. So it's not only your space, but your space to exist. And some of you are here, I know some of them doing the work, they are struggling. If you have to influence the government, if you have to influence GST, you have to influence everything, you go ahead and do it. Go and vote for the best government, guys. Don't sit here. Come and attend the Maker Fair, okay? You have to do that. I'm planning to come back for voting if I can do. So digital labor. This is the most crucial one. I have 7 minutes. Software robots or digital laborers are going to replace human effort. And by 2016 World Bank report, India is going to have the impact. About 69% of the current jobs in India will be vanished. New jobs will come. What is said? So this is from certain readings from KPMG. The global market for robots and artificial intelligence is going to hit 152 billion by 2020. And 55% of North American enterprises are looking for new opportunities available in robot process automation. And return of investment is of the order of 600 to 800%. And 85% of CEOs are concerned about the integration of basic automated business processes. And smart machines will be the top 5 investments priority. So we need to understand this. So typically human labor and then robot process automation. What is that? Have you heard about that? Some of you might have, right? When you call a company, somebody picks up, opens window, maybe financial, bill, HR, or something. SAP and several other softwares, they cannot talk to each other. You can write an underlying layer to talk to them, and many do not allow that. Then people came up with mechanisms at the Windows handler to do what a human does on the screen, you can automate it. That is done. And now, the patterns within that, with a lot of data available, we are using AI to automate that process. And that's what is happening. So that's where the digital labor is coming. I think in Ernst & Young in Trivandrum is doing it, somebody told me that. So cognitive technology and simulate the way humans perceive, learn, and respond, that is utilized, plus the process automation, where automate routine human task of organizing data and applying human context, that leads to digital labor. And this is a very interesting one. And there are 3 classes. We have already seen class 1, basic process automation, and then the enhanced process automation, virtual assistant, chat agents, etc. there. Now it is going to self-optimization, self-learning, digestion of super data sets, everything coming in, predictive analytics and everything coming in that. So challenges, lack of education in the field and less public sector funding, and deliberate policy must be there to really look into it. And the dull, dangerous, dirty jobs, definitely it should be done by robots, not by humans. But there will be a new types of job creation. A lot of people are required to really bring in this space and utilizing the data and come up with identifying proper application domains. So this is one of the recent companies where I am involved in, Tillygrow. We started in 2017, and we have released the basic manual robot process automation software, open source. And you can use it, so go to that website if you want to work on, we'll be interested to work on. And by the way, that system is developed by, led by a Malayali from Kerala, who is in Singapore. I did not know him before 1 year back, and I got introduced to him, and my scholars are going to work for him. So the 8 technologies, there are other areas. Of course, we have one 3D printing company as well, virtual reality, Internet of Things, and blockchain. I don't know much about blockchain, but you have to explore, you to learn. Of course, cryptocurrencies and all that are coming because of that, and there are a lot of impactful businesses happening out there because of this. But we don't have an ecosystem here. Companies, academia is separated from business. You have to change. I'm an academician. I'm also a business enterprise, related areas. I'm into it. Making money is not bad, guys. Making money is good. And if you are good, make more money and do more good. So that should be the way. So our academia, especially in India, we have a lot of IITs, NITs. How many engineering colleges are in Kerala? How many projects are being done every year? What is the outcome of that? Is that useful to humanity or nearby villages? We have to think. All these are resources. So have to come end users, component suppliers, everybody has to join hands. And there should be a cluster, robotic cluster, and we should keep everybody in the loop, and then we have to come up with solutions. So with that, I have just 1.40 minutes here. I'd like to end, but I would like to say something. I try to bring in a company from Bangalore to help 3 startups in Kerala, which was funded by government earlier. These 3 startups had individually some good parts. In total, individually they were not good. So we like to use something from here, something from the second one, something from the third. In that applicable domain, wanted to come up with something useful. This was for coconut climbing. I failed miserably because people were not ready to join hands. And my advice to you is, you cannot alone win in the world. If you have to be a Steve Jobs. I think he was not alone, by the way, right? So join hands, network, share more, and try to see you can do wonders. And I don't believe that intelligence is associated with any language or any degree. You don't have to have any formal education. Intelligence is part of our brain, and we are damn good at it. And make use of it, and all the best to you guys. Thank you very much. No questions or answers or anything like that. There is time? Okay. I think she has to leave soon anyway, but maybe 2 questions? Yes. Okay. Is that okay, ma'am? Okay. Guys, 2 questions.
Please feel free to ask any questions. Please raise your hands if you have any.
Yeah. So you were talking about the outdated education system, and you were talking about the outdated education system and current ecosystem in not just Kerala but all over India. So we cannot change the education system all of a sudden, and there are a lot of students who are interested in, like, the technology is changing all of a random. Like now we have blockchain, we have like machine learning and everything, but what we have in the syllabuses are far more like outdated. So there are a lot of students, even though interested to pursue new technologies. So what are your, like, do you have any comments on, like?
Okay, I have taught in Kerala before, okay, in REC Calicut. I'm in the US last 19 years. Every 3-4 years we change our curriculum. And we also try to understand our students better. For example, the millennials, they are totally different. So what I didn't have the freedom in India, that's why I left India, to be frank with you. And I don't teach any modules to exam the students. I don't have final exams in most of my modules, because I don't believe in exams. And the robotics module, we have to have some exams, so it is open book examination. I allow anything to bring in. So it's not to test the memory. So I have a problem. I cannot remember formulae. I cannot remember history. If you ask me when Panipat war happened, I'm not able to say that. And I will not be able to repeat a sentence. This is my problem. But that does not mean I'm not intelligent. My brain is like that. That's not my fault. But if I learn somehow to get a rank in Calicut University, that is a different way, okay? So I cannot even remember a poem, first sentence. My wife is a poet, by the way. So you can imagine the tussles. So we need to move away from the typical memory-based assessment to concept-related, application-related aspects. This is something which we have to really consider big. And second, curriculum has to be changed big. Third, student-centric approach. And maybe you can discuss more, but I think she is standing there and
Hi sir, I don't know if you remember me, I'm Jay Krishnan.
Okay,
We met during 2008 at Model Engineering College. I ran a company called Asimo Robotics.
You've grown beard, huh?
Yeah. So okay, so the question is very simple, like, these 11 years when I worked with robotics, introducing various products. So I came across many situations that people are very much apprehended, particularly from this geography, about the robotization and also the so-called singularity issues of AI. So how do you see that? How do we approach this? How do we address this issue? How we can educate people? How we can make them enlightened about the, what it can bring as far as it's a very good technology if we brought into so how do you approach this?
All right, I see. I remember why Steve Jobs wanted hello on the computer. Do you remember the story? Because Hollywood killed the computers as monsters. So he wanted to have hello there. He was bent upon doing that. And my first company in India failed because I did not understand Indian mindset when I am an Indian. So the floor cleaning robot, something similar to Roomba I had in Bangalore. Yes, exactly. So you have to understand this particular thing I learned later on called ethnography, the ethnic, cultural, psychological belief system that is within us. So Indian came and everybody is thinking robots are very intelligent. That's one. And I had a Thrissur motor show, Government College of Thrissur. It was in 2006 or 7. After my humanoid robots were playing football, and one guy came to me and said, what you're doing is nothing. AI has advanced a lot. Some students started reacting. I said, no, don't worry, let him have his ignorance. Because our truth is defined by our ignorance. So these are the two extremes. So I did not know that in India, people don't clean. They clean, spot cleans, quick clean. That's sufficient in the kitchen. I did not learn it. The second issue was the carpets. In Indian carpets, you have the frills. And European carpets don't have the frills. And there are wrong conceptions. Some of the typically housewives were buying this. They were saying, oh, it's dumb. It's not doing the way I used to do it. So these are all the differences, expectation differences. So I told to some guys here, I don't remember where, you should have small bites in social media to say what robotics really is. And it is how useful it is. And create that space. And you guys have to buy your competitors' product to help them to grow. Then only you can grow. In fact, Bill Gates invested in Steve Jobs' Apple. When Steve Jobs was really going down, Apple was out of business. You can have to have competitors. Then only you can become better and the best in the world. So with that, I would like to end. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. With that,
Hello.
Okay, that'll be the one last question.
Sir, one question. You mentioned about the number of engineering colleges in Kerala and their contribution to society and all that. And you are living in one of the most productive and very successful countries in the world. So what can we bring from there, or what can you suggest here?
I started a college in Kerala and I failed miserably because people don't understand. I tried to bring NUS kind of education there, but I didn't get the money. I'm a poor man, okay? We don't know. So I started 400 aptitude tests were done in free in Calicut, so that I don't want the children to go to an engineering college or arts college just because the parents want them to really do it. I brought design thinking. I have robots operating system workshops happen in that space. How many came, Very little. So there is a problem with the public awareness. Public is not bothered about changes. Public is not bothered about the future impact of something that will change right now. That's a problem with us. We were very good at that previously. If you look at our philosophies, okay, not the religion, we are ready to confront anything. So when my mother died, I was 12, and before that my uncle died. He didn't have a child, so I was supposed to do the diksha and do the things, and go to the pond, take bath, come here in the kitchen nearby place where nobody can enter, very sacred place at that time, and everything was cleaned. And then my aunt gave me cow dung in my hand, clean the surface with cow dung. That's the beauty of innovation at that time. I'm not talking in terms of, I'm not the religious other thing, okay? We were ready to face anything. And Khajuraho, Chambal, sex and everything. But we are so used to, we know a lot about cricket, we know a lot about politics, we know a lot about corruption, we know a lot about a lot of things. But what is happening in education in the rest of the world, we don't know. Do we know? So Someone coming from US, living with me for 1 week, starting Monday till Friday, to understand how to help students in the hostels. We spend a lot of money inside the hostels to help them to really express their, thoughts. So there are a lot of things. If you want, we can discuss more. Well, of course, I come to India about 15 to 20 times in a year, but I'm very upset, okay? So it's so sad, actually, yeah. But still I come back, because if one guy here changes, that is my success. Nothing more is